Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Punishing Dumb-Ass Openings, everybody's favourite chess series on YouTube. This one's an absolute beauty. My opponent's rated just over 1500 in Rapid. Comes from Uganda, Jeff Michelson. And this is a 10-minute no-increment game, and it's not long. Okay, let me take you from the top. Now, I'll say up front that this is an opening that I am not familiar with whatsoever. It's quite rare, but it is known, and it's, I don't know if it's a valid gambit, it's a known gambit. The Elephant Gambit with 2d5. Now, this fits a lot of patterns that we kind of recognise. So e4, e5, and then if it's kind of like an opposite of the Danish or the centre game in a sense, but the problem is that my knight's here. Now, I'm already out of my depth. We will look at a little bit of theory after this because I'd like to know what to do in future. I guess that there's a risk here that if you take the pawn, you get the pawn push, the kind of Freddy Krueger style pawn push on e4. Who knows? This could be a nice line for black. So I decided to take the pawn, bring the queen out into the board, because the idea here is that if queen takes, then you've got knight c3, you've got two knights out on the board, the queen's already having to start running, but that's not what happens, of course. You get pawn from e5 to e4 hitting the knight. Now, the knight doesn't have many options, so this is a position I'm quite familiar with, a pattern I'm quite familiar with from the other side of the board, and I've got the black pieces, but now I'm on the receiving end. So it's tempting, obviously, to centralise the knight d5. Then maybe you get queen takes pawn here. Knight d4. Knight d4 is not one of the best options. Apparently, you've also got to watch out for no, because we've not moved Freddy, because we're sensible players. Okay. Interestingly, the computer here is saying queen e2, pinning the pawn. That is, of course, a line that I'm familiar with. In many different openings. So, but anyway, I decide just to retreat the knight back to g1. So, for now, I'm a pawn up. Is the queen going to come flying out? Indeed she does. Obviously, knight c3. Like in the Scandinavian, you gain tempo on the queen, and the queen now moves back here. Now, my opponent has used 12 seconds of his time, and he's already basically thrown the game away. There's one critical move here for white. I'm sure you can see it. It's not hard. It's bishop b5, pinning the queen on the king, and basically winning the game. She takes a take. He develops a knight, missing the knight takes c7, king rook fork. He develops another knight here, and I decide here the best course of action is probably fianchetto this bishop onto the long diagonal, probably something like queen e2. My queen can't go there or there or there, so bishop b2, queen e2, long castle, something like that. My opponent brings out another bishop, and I figure, sod it, let's go just push and gain space. I'm well up in material. I'm up a queen and a rook, for goodness sake, for the sake of a bishop. He retreats, and now I spot a fork with queen b5, check. He misses it again. He loses his bishop and gets checkmated on move 15. Sweet. Okay, so that is the Elephant Gambit. Now, maybe it's dangerous. I don't know. Let's pull up the Lichess Explorer and see if strongish players play the Elephant Gambit, and if they do, what happens? Righto. So here we go. We'll see it from white's perspective. So it's an e4, not king, e5. I played this, he played that. Okay. The Elephant Gambit. And now it's actually pretty even. So what have we got this set to? 1800 plus on Lichess and no blitz. Right? So we're thinking, this is maybe kind of respectable. Now my opponent's offering me a pawn. Computer here says that taking the pawn is fine, taking that pawn is fine. For white, knight c3 is fine. Knight c3 is an interesting one because it walks into the advancing pawn, but then maybe we're going kind of like a reverse kind of Petrov style, maybe, and trying to get black to overextend in the center. I don't know. But what's the biggie? I don't see it. Okay, so if we take... Now, I'm sure that if we dialed down the numbers and looked at this at the lower intermediate beginner level, whatever, then it would all be quite different. Now the critical move here is pawn to e4. Queen takes is 56% for white, so pawn to e4 with tempo. And now queen e2 is best. Knight d4 is problematic, which is just simply better for black. Knight g1 is also problematic. I missed the queen pin there, but so I played this, okay. And the queen takes. I think everyone's going to play knight c3. Yeah, but I mean, from this position, this is actually good for black, guys. This is not as dumb as it. I mean, my opponent completely played it in the dumbest possible manner, giving up his queen in a rapid game that early. Yeah, look, hey, we've all been there, right? We've all done dumb things. Saying that your opponent does a dumbass move doesn't mean you're disrespecting your opponent, because he disrespected himself. So here, let's just have a look at the critical queen e2, because that seems to be important. Okay, so knight f6 is always played here, attacking and defending. And now d3, just pressuring the pinned pawn, I guess. Queen, well, there's two moves here actually. Bishop, oh no, bishop b4 check. Or queen takes d5, and both of those are actually better for black. Bishop b4 check is very challenging. I guess most people are going to push c3, and then come to grief. Interesting. What's the problem with c3? They can't take here. Let's have a look. Okay, so I feel like we need one line. Do you know what I mean? Against the elephant. So the retreating the knight is the Paulson counter gambit. That's what it's saying. And then they just castle and give up the bishop. Oh my god. No, but that's not right. Taking the bishop is a serious mistake. Let's see what happens. Come on, let's rubberneck. Oh, we hang the knight. Okay, and if queen takes, rook e8 check. And this position has been reached 2,000 times. Black has won 76% of them. All right. Okay, let's go back to the start. Le Elephant Gambit. Okay, I'm going to see what the machine says as well here. E takes is just better, according to the machine. So we'll stick with this one, right? They are going to play e4. Of course they are going to play e4. And knight e5, apparently, is best by test, with 52% for white. But queen e2 is the only one, according to the engine, that works. They are going to play their knight out here. And then we simply push d3. I think that's the... computer says knight c3 or d3. Let's go with d3. I know it blocks in this bishop, but we could fianchetto that bishop later on. They will play queen takes d5 or bishop b4 check. So there's kind of two lines. Okay, so bear with me. Okay, so after this, they play knight f6. We play d3. Okay, so we're going to do the... Okay, so I'll show you what to do here. You click study. I'm uploading a video, so it's slightly slow. Apologies for that. Create study. Elephant Gambit refutation. Alright, and public thingy. Okay, so this is going to be the bishop b4 check line. Alright, and we'll set it to interactive lesson as well. Okay, so bishop b4 check. c3 it says is fine here. They will usually castle. By the way, Lee Chess guys, all this gunk in the middle here, it's taking up far too much space and it pushes the book out. Especially on mobile, sometimes the book goes to 0 and you can't even scroll to find it. Okay, And then we've got DE here. Hang on. If they castle, yeah, just DE, and we're just better, right? Do not take the damn bishop, right? Do not. D takes E. Okay, DE, and look, we've got a nice centre. We're shielded from the rook. The bishop's still under attack, and white is just better here. We can say white is better. Plus 2.2, white is better. Okay, so I'll add in another chapter. Empty. Rename it in a minute. Okay, so the Elephant Gambit, we know what to do. They come here. We are going to take. They push e4. We break the pin. I think this is what happened in the previous one. Yeah, let's just go back and check. We take and we break. Okay, knight comes out. Fair enough. Back to chapter 2. Alright, knight comes out. Knight f6 is universal, 74%. And we played d3, did we not? And now queen takes d5. So this is 5 queen takes d5. Okay. And I'm just going to rename the first chapter as well. 5 bishop e4 check. Okay. Queen takes d5. Critical here is not to play knight c3. Knight c3 will walk into a pin, I would imagine. Knight c3, bishop e4. The engine doesn't mind it. The engine says there are 3 equal moves. So we've got knight c3, knight b d2, and knight f d2. Huh. Remember, the pawn is still pinned and can't do anything. Knight c3, it doesn't mind. And it doesn't block in this bishop. Let's just explore that line. Okay, bishop e4 pins the knight. Yeah. Bishop d2 now looks like a mistake. Okay, machine says knight d2, breaking the pin. Knight g5 or de. What's winningest? Knight d2 is winningest. Not the most intuitive. Remember, this is still pinned. Okay, and if bishop takes, I guess b takes, and we're doing fine there. Okay. So, yeah, sorry, Hoover's just gone on, but that's a good place to leave it. I'm going to revise this, but I'll put a link to the study. Thanks for watching. See you later.